Come on in, come on in, come on in. They coming in already. Come on in. Warren, what's up? What's up? What's up, my man? What's going on? Terry T with your teacup. What's going on?
What's up? What's up?
Warren, Warren, Warren says, come on in, come on in. Come on in, Warren.
Yeah,
Come
man.
on in, everybody. Come on in, come on in. Listen, we want to talk about Cal, man. How's everybody doing? I hope everybody had a blessed week this week, a blessed Friday today. And we want to talk about Cal. We know we came in a little bit late. Sports conversation with Chris. What's going on? I'm assuming you got a YouTube channel. Talk back to me, man. Let me know. Sports conversation with Chris. How you doing, buddy? John, what's up, man?
Hey, it's Friday. It's the day before the day. You know, it's the day before the day. So
Absolutely. We usually come on Thursday, but we usually come on Thursday. We was a little lost. Well, I was a little lost in the sauce yesterday, so I was unable to. Hey, John, I was lost in all the sauce yesterday, man. So you know, we usually come on Thursday. We will come next Thursday though. But we here today, man.
All good, all good. I'm just blessed to be with you. You know how we do.
Absolutely, man. So everybody knows. How's everybody doing? Everybody knows we got a game tomorrow, and it's going to be Cal. And let's see what Chris says. Chris, yes, sir. Starting up, trying to get like you, big. Hey, no, sir, man. Hey, Chris, man. Nobody's big time except him, man. That's it. Except the Lord, my brother.
Amen.
But I appreciate it, man. Let me know. I'll be happy to come on, man, and help you out. So anyway, we're talking about Cal USC. And it's a game tomorrow, and we want to discuss the challenges, the not so much challenges from what we've seen already, what we observed. And I will say this as we look at Cal coming into this game tomorrow. You know, I hear a lot of people, oh, this is not going to be much of a challenge, but I'm going to tell you this right now. We're going to talk about it. I've seen them play at Notre Dame. It's 24-17. They only lost by a touchdown, so I don't think being at USC is going to be a factor of any type of intimidation factor at all. I think they're going to try to come and play. Everybody always comes to play and gets up for USC anyway. I did see them play Oregon first half. Pretty much, I think it was 3-0, and they played Washington tough, lost by a touchdown. So we're not going to take anybody for granted, and we want to talk about Cal and what to expect and what not to expect. What's your initial thoughts, John, coming into this?
Yes, man. You guys got to remember that we're in the Pac. We're in the Pac-12 conference. There is no such thing as an easy game. This conference is notorious for cannibalism. And what I mean by that is each team has the type of recipe and athletic talent and coaching staff and regional strength to beat anyone. Like it's always been that way, and that's why we have been underrepresented in the college playoffs since they adopted that system. Is because this conference, we beat each other up worse than any other conference in the country. You can say whatever you want to say about every other conference out there. All I know is when I look at the national rankings, there are 6 teams in our conference that are bowl eligible as of now, and we're only at the halfway point of the season.
Right.
Out of half of our conference are going to bowl games, and we are. That's the strongest postseason representation in the country right now.
Absolutely, stronger than the SEC. I think I posted that yesterday.
I don't even want to speak on those other places, but all I'm gonna say is right now we have the most representatives headed to the bowl season. That's a direct reflection of the competitive nature of this conference. So don't sleep on Cal at all. Like, how many times can we get mulled to sleep by thinking that this team, if you look at their stats from this game to this game to this game, and I mean Cal's only, I think they're averaging about 23 points a game, something like that. Maybe am I right about that? I could be off, but I
got it here. Hold on for just a second.
It's somewhere around there.
I got it right up here,
if I remember correctly. But what I'm saying is we are going to get every team's best punch. I mean, period. You're going to always get every team that USC plays. They're going to play way above their pay grade. Everybody is going to throw the kitchen sink, the toilet. They're going to throw the dishwasher, the laundry. They're throwing everything at USC. and that's just
Yeah.
what it is. And so for our squad to have been in position to consistently stand up in the face of that level of challenge and adversity coming into this year under this new tenure, I'm blown away. So yeah, this is definitely a game that's going to be competitive. We should handle it, but we do have some depth issues and some injuries at our key positions that can make this game a lot more interesting than
we'll talk about. I'm gonna pull up those real quick. I got some updates on those. Well, and we'll kind of talk about that. To your point, Cal is 23.2, exactly 23.4. You're absolutely right. That's what they're averaging, and of course we're averaging 41 points a game. Yardage per game, they're averaging 261.1. We're averaging 301. I'm sorry, 307.8. Rushing yards per game, they're averaging 113.4 a game to our 185.6. Yards per game, we're averaging 493.5. They're averaging 374.5. And then total first downs, they have 165 to our 207. This is kind of interesting. Well, not really. I mean, they're allowing points per game. They're allowing 416.4 to our 401.8. And then and so yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah.
So that's the total amount of points they've given up this season is four. What is it again?
They're giving up 416 yardage or points.
So yardage. They're giving up 416 yards again.
416.4. Yeah, and they're allowing about that. Yeah, points allowed per game, about 25 points on an average.
Okay.
Per game. But if we look at their game, they've only scored over 30 points this year. They've only scored 30 points, over 30 points this year. And so in those games where UC Davis, it was 34-13. UNLV, it was 20-14. Notre Dame 24-17. Arizona, to get this, Cal versus Arizona. You know they beat Arizona 49-31. That's one of the games they scored over 30. And then WSU, they beat Arizona 49-31. I don't even know how that happened. But that was kind of a surprise to me when I seen that.
I think Dillard threw some picks in that game, and that got him off. I mean, it's hard to overcompensate those interceptions when you throw those. There was some turnover factors in that game. So I do think that this Arizona team coming off of the loss from the last week that we played them, I think they're going to go into this week very competitive. They have
and they play. I think they play Utah, if I'm not mistaken.
I think they have every reason to feel like very motivated by playing us as tight as close as they did. I think hopefully they can jet stream off that energy and do really well going into Utah.
Absolutely.
I hope to see them bring some pain to Utah.
I hope they beat Utah. I told somebody else that today. Somebody else told me they don't think they have a chance, but I hope they beat Utah, man. It's at Utah, so that's a problem. That's a little bit. Oh, by the way, Washington is playing Oregon State. I think it's Oregon State tonight. 7:30. 7:30. And that's gonna be that's gonna be an interesting game. I'll make sure I'm tuned into that. And so some of the major notes and some of the things that jump out at me is when I look at their strength, or some of the strength from them, it's going to be probably on the defensive side. I wouldn't say it's on the offensive side. Of course, when they went to Notre Dame, a team that Notre Dame happened to be getting better, it was only 24-17, man, at Notre Dame. I actually thought Cal, that little freshman running back, I think his name is Ott, he was going crazy against Notre Dame, man, I think. And See, do you know him?
I don't know him personally, but he's out here from SoCal. So
he is he's a little runner, man. Now it seems like he's been controlled the past couple of games, but early on in the season, his name was kind of buzzing, man, and it kind of jumped out at me, especially I think when it was against Notre Dame. And so if it's anything that's going to be their strength, I think it's from an offensive perspective, I think it's going to be their run game. The quarterback is not a mobile quarterback at all, which I think can really work in our benefit right now, given the players that are hurt. What's your thoughts on that?
I believe that it's about to be a feeding frenzy for our D-line. It's about to be.
It's tailor-made for him, huh?
Oh, my goodness. And speaking of tailor-made, Taylor Mays is one of our coaches on our staff. And I know that he's ready to have the secondary have a really big day. Work in conjunction with that defensive line. I mean, to be honest, you guys, there's a direct correlation between when our defensive line plays very well and has great sack days, great quarterback pressure days where we're really condensing the pocket and forcing that ball to come out off timing, our secondary eats. And so this is kind of one of those types of games I believe that can get us recalibrated. Hopefully we can extend our turnover margin, and I'm seeing at least a 2 interception type game along with 4 to 6 sacks. That's the goal.
Absolutely, recalibrate all the way. And if we remember early on, I think that was one of the things that that really altered some of the quarterback's throw and allowed us to get some interceptions. That was the thing that allowed us to get the interception against Cam Rising, but they stole it from us, was that pressure. You know what I mean? So, and they ended up calling it a targeting, which was just absolutely, it was really just pressure. So I think you're right, with a quarterback that's not as mobile as Cam Rising and as Delora, I think we can have some success with this defense. Now, I'm going to let you speak to this situation right here, because I'm not even about to answer this. I need you to answer this. I'm not even going to. Let me get back to this comment right here. Where is it at? Here it is right here. I don't know if you can see that. Can you see it?
Let me read this. I'm going to read it out loud. Listen. Okay, from Good Music, it says, John Walker, please talk some sense to USCJ. Need to be replaced. Woo!
I'm gonna let you answer that, because I'm not even about to respond to that. Hey, good music. You are temporary lost in the sauce. I'm gonna tell you that right now, bro.
Let me continue to read it for everybody who's not watching but just listening, right? It says he had great defensive players at Ohio State with Urban Meyer and at OU. His defense won't.
What's that key word? What's that key word in there? You just said great.
I see a lot of things, but it says he had great defensive players at Ohio State with Urban Meyer and at OU. His defense won't improve at USC.
I'm gonna let you go ahead. I can't even. I'll let you go ahead.
Here's what I'm going to say. So far, I don't know what you mean by improve, because it already has substantially improved. So by nature of the statistics that we have this season compared to what we had the last season and the season before, this is a dramatically improved defense. I'm talking about life-changing exponential differences of productivity. I mean, our defense could not compare in the last few years to the productivity that we have this year. That's what I could say. That's just what's on paper. Now, if you're just talking, I don't know what, that's just a kind of an arbitrary, it's a little bit ambiguous by saying it can improve. I believe that this defense is very well attuned for the Pac-12. I think that in the other conference, when we get there, I believe that the necessary adjustments after a couple of recruiting cycles, you will be able to see I think the strengths of what this type of disruptive style defense can provoke. It's not a standard traditional, whatever we would consider a traditional defense. It just isn't. The goal is to be a very advantageous defense and force the opponent to make mistakes. I like playing where you have to force them to make a perfect decision instead of just one-on-one over and over and over and over again. I believe it's a little bit boring, and I think it's antiquated, and I think the NFL is even getting away from that style. You're starting to see more of Grinch style defense more show up in the pros. So
absolutely,
I think it's the progressive nature of football, but I do respect your opinion. I have to greatly disagree, because it already has significantly improved, because we're leading the nation in turnover differential. So that's automatically, and we're in the top in statistic categories except for yards.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And also, I think the other category that we're doing well in is even points allowed. We're still in the middle of we're in the top tier of the country. So I can't fuss at it.
Absolutely. And the thing about it, he's doing it this year with players that he hasn't already, the guys that he hadn't recruited yet. You got guys like Braylon Shelby, Tackett Curtis. You got guys, Sam Green, guys that are really going to fit that system, his system, David Peavy, guys that are going to fit that system and come in and play exactly that that's within the system. And you guys know at Washington State, he had success. He had more of his style players. And I told you guys this, when he was at Oklahoma, he improved it. He came there in 2019. He improved it by 100 yards. The year prior to that, they were averaging, I did a video about this, they were averaging about 400 some yards. After he came, it was about 300 some yards. So he actually improved it by 100 yards. Yes, they got some points scored on him, but hey, this is college football. Alabama had a lot of points scored on them the beginning of this year against Tennessee. You guys know that. What was it, 50 points? Where's that defensive coordinator at? Why is nobody talking about that defensive coordinator? So I think we need to consider all that, man. And this is powerful offense now as it relates to college football, man. So I guess that's a short answer. But look, this question right here.
Go ahead. Look at the caliber of offensive weaponry that we're playing against in the Pac-12. You guys, you have to see that we have literally 6 of the top 10 quarterbacks in the country are in the Pac-12. And I don't care what anybody says. If you just look at the productivity, the touchdowns that they're throwing, the amount of yards that these offenses are putting up across the country, man, like the Pac-12 produces a lot of offensive damage. And so that's just you're going to have a defense that is built to match that. And so that's just what we're looking at. It doesn't feel good. It really doesn't. But the fact is until we really get worn out defensively, where we just are proving that we're out of a game with our defense, I can't say that it's a bad defense. Even the game that at Utah, let's look at how much assistance Utah got in that game. I don't even want to talk about it anymore. But let's look at the big yardage we gave up against Arizona. Yes, they scored a lot. Also, again, there was a lot of contributions that affected that scoreboard. So when I look at the whole picture in its entirety, I compare USC to every other team in the country. So far, the only team that has impressed me that hasn't given up a lot of points is Ohio State and Tennessee in spurts. But when you look at some of their games, they've given up a lot of points and yards.
A lot of points, yeah.
So I can't speak. Yeah.
And speaking of that, when you're talking about, do you know how much energy and how much emotion it takes for someone like Caleb Bullock to go ahead and get an interception? They stopped him on 3rd and 6. It takes a lot of energy, and then they end up scoring on that. That's mentally that affects you from a mental aspect of your game, because you put so much effort in it, and not only that, you couple that with being worn down in the process of trying to stop them after you had that major effort go forth like that. So I think some of those things need to be considered. All of us believe that the referees work against us, so we have to understand that all that is within that as well. So that's pretty much what we got to say as it relates to that. Good Music said, thanks for the answer, USC JJ. Well, hey, Good Music, we love you, brother. We just trying to get this thing right, man.
Absolutely.
But so injuries. Check this out. So injuries. This is what we got. This is what we're looking at. Bobby Haskins. It says it's undisclosed. It's questionable. Mario Williams. I think it's his hamstring, but it says he's questionable for tomorrow. Corey Foreman. I didn't even realize. I know he was supposedly hurt. I'm not. Do you know exactly what the injury is with Corey Foreman? He's questionable tomorrow.
I'm not certain, but I think he got banged up during the bye week.
Okay. Voorhees, Andrew Voorhees, he's questionable for tomorrow. Randall Gopher, he's questionable. Gentry and Addison, both of them are questionable. So we got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 guys. 7 guys that are all starters. Of course, Gopher and Gentry both, sub out for each other. But all these guys are starters, even Haskins and Cortland Ford. So all these guys are pretty much starters. And these are guys that, I think this is the game that we probably want them out right now, if we could say, from an offensive perspective, the defensive perspective. What you think?
Let them rest. And we can't look past any teams that we have to play before we get to, some of our later games in the season. But we do have to look through them. And by looking through them, you have to manufacture the opportunities for other guys to get game speed, game time experience, because depth is one of the prerequisites for a championship caliber team. Depth
Yeah.
and mental and emotional and physical preparedness is the thing that really separates really great teams from teams that are okay, and teams
Yeah.
that you're proud of them. But the things that make you excellent is when your depth doesn't force you into like critical losses, and that could have been avoided without the injury issue. So let's let these gentlemen rest, even if it's against their own will. Let's let them rest, because we need them later. Greater will come later. You guys have heard me say that, but our greater will come later, right? And so I don't think that we need all of our home run heavy hitters in this particular matchup. That's wishful thinking, but again, that's on the caveat that of the understanding that every single team that we play is literally playing the best football that they played all season. You haven't seen any of the players that we've played this year have breakout games like they have outside of the ones at USC. Everybody's playing at like superhuman heroic levels when they play against the Trojans. And it's because a lot of these guys are from Southern California. A lot of these guys were rigid posters on their wall. And because when you think of Pac-12 football overall, you really do think of USC in that top 2 or 3. You may think of USC, some of those other schools that ain't never done much. But USC is always in somebody's mix, right? Even if they grew up UCLA fans. Literally, I've known so many hundreds of kids that have grown up where their parents forced them to love UCLA. And then USC offers them a scholarship, UCLA offers them a scholarship, and they become Trojans. And I said, all right, and so that lets you know the strength of the brand and the culture, what it is to be a Trojan, and how it has long-term benefits. So everybody wants to be a part of that Trojan culture. And by being a part of it sometimes means beating it. That means proving that I should have been there. So I'm gonna give you a fit right now because you overlooked me, or something to that nature, right? So I'm ready for this. I'm ready for all of it. I'm glad that our squad gets to go through these challenges in this first year and are excelling, because I know that real big time battles are coming up in our future.
Big time. Now, there was some very interesting stats. Even though they lost against Oregon, even though they lost against Notre Dame, I looked some of these up. Even though they lost against Washington, they played Washington tight. They played Oregon tight in the first half. But let me show you these numbers. Oregon put up 586 yards against them total. Cal put up 402 yards against them. Passing against Oregon, they put up 328. Oregon put up 412 against them, and rushing, Oregon put up 174. They did have the ball a little bit. They had 28 minutes. They had the ball against Oregon. Oregon had the ball for 31 minutes and 58 seconds. So I guess they will try to hold on to the ball a little bit with that running back. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, they're definitely gonna try to control the clock. So like most people think that. I've heard a lot of people say, man, USC, we scored too fast. We've got to give our defense a little more rest. Maybe if we didn't score as quickly in some of these drives, we need to run the ball more, control the clock more, punish the other squad a little bit more. Let's lean on their defense, trust in our offensive line, keep our quarterback clean, give our running backs the touches, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. What I believe is that USC is the type of squad where all of these coaches are probably thinking, man, we want to slow USC down. We need them to go slow. We don't want to make this a shot, because they've just statistically been proven to have way too much firepower to go tit for tat with all game long. And so I believe it does benefit any team that plays us is to keep us at a tempo that's a little bit slower, less momentum oriented, and also less explosive oriented. And so that's why I recognize why it's important that our coaches are really making sure we put the points on the board early and often. I do understand that. So I think that overall, every team that we play, not just Cal, but they're going to want to win the time of possession. They're going to want to control the clock and keep us from using all of the weapons that we can extend the ball to. Because when we're lighting up on all sides of the ball, you see the other teams get injured just by the the sheer amortization of trying to keep pace with all of the receivers and backs and tight ends. Everybody can touch the ball, can be damaging for us. So I would actually like to see a sprint in this game. I don't want to see us go at a controlled and slow, methodic pace. I don't.
Yeah, absolutely. Because when I was looking at the Oregon game last week, it kind of looked crazy because it was like 3-0. I think it was 3-0 at in the second quarter. It looked like Oregon couldn't score in the beginning. I was like, what in the world's going on with Cal and Oregon? I thought Cal had an opportunity to really try to do something, man. But so I kind of see it from both sides. I see, like, if you get out in first ahead and you start scoring a crazy amount of points, I can see where it can be overwhelming for a team and they can kind of get discouraged and a little bit lost in the sauce. And on the flip side, I can see as well as our team, sometimes, given some of our defensive issues that we got going on with the injuries, I can kind of see that it could wear some of our guys that are not as mobile as like a Gentry or because if CB's in there, CB's going, he's going to go in there and lay that wood, and Sean Lee's going to lay that wood. But once they start having to run all over the place, man, it's not as mobile as Gentry and those other guys. So I kind of feel like slow it down a little bit. That's when I say slow it down. You see what I'm saying?
Oh, no. Yeah, I got you. Once the game is well in control, I do agree with that part to an extent. Because you do have to think about your defensive players, especially when the offense has the productivity that it has and the one strike capability. What I just enjoy is I enjoy USC winning the style point game. I enjoy seeing us win in a fashion that's considered so dominant, and that's what we ended up having to do against like a Fresno State. We had to run up the scoreboard to help these guys understand the type of team that we were, because I think that they will try to use anything we say can and will be used against us. So with regards to trying to get into the Pac-12 championship and then also the postseason into the playoffs, I believe those style points are going to matter. And I think our offense is one of the best. It's one of the best vehicles to allow us to get those style points, right? Because if you're on Sports Center or ESPN and watching these highlights, and you're from other parts of the country, they're going to want to see Cardinal and Gold uniforms hitting that end zone over and over and over again in different types. And they want to see that big arm on number 13, like Willin and Dillon, really slicing and dicing out there. And so I think this is also a push for this young man to be in Heisman contention. So those are a lot of factors that come into a coaching staff. And I know that they're not speaking that stuff, but I recognize what happens behind the scenes. And I know what happens in these personal and really private conversations about how someone's doing. And so I think that they're really going to try to smoke these dudes.
Absolutely. Let me answer this real quick. USCJ, where do you get your hats from? You can go to Fanatics. You can go to USC Bookstore online. You can go if you got Instagram or YouTube or Twitter, hit me on USCJ32. And I'll get you all those sites. I'm lost in the sauce right now. My mind went blank. But USCJ32.
So Lids, Fanatic, Fan Edge. There's one called College.
Hey, and I got them all, man. Hey, every hat that you can think of, baby. Hey, it's go time, man. Hey, we get them all, man.
I got these coaches' visors, you know what I mean?
Hit me at USCJ32 on Instagram or Twitter, and I'll send you the exact link to those sites on each one I get them from.
Yeah.
So look, let's see. You got good music. You guys think we can still get to the playoffs with one loss? Clemson, Michigan, TCU would need to lose. Listen, hey, I hope. Let's pray that Notre Dame beats Clemson tomorrow. Because I think that not only would that help us with strength of schedule, but I don't think Notre Dame would be ranked anyway, but they may slip in the top 25 if they do that. But I think that that will help us, because see, Clemson is lost in the sauce big time. They are so lucky. They should have lost against Syracuse and they should have lost against Wake Forest. But yes, to that question, I think we can get in if we just went out right now and giving some of these teams lose. What's your thoughts, John?
I agree. I know that Michigan, Ohio State still have to play one another. So they usually don't drop far when one of them lose, but that does bode well for us. You know, just in terms of the timing of the loss, because it's going to happen so late in the season where when they lose and we're climbing, you know, by then we would have hopefully played and beat, you know, UCLA and then also Notre Dame, who I hope handles business this weekend. But if Alabama loses again, which I think that they can, especially they still got to play LSU.
Yeah. No, they play LSU tomorrow. Yeah.
They play LSU tomorrow.
They play LSU tomorrow. Yeah.
Yeah. So they still play LSU, and that's always those games are really, they're competitive when it comes down to those rivalries. So yeah, there's a few pathways for USC, but the only way we can get there at all is by taking care of business. We got to win out. There's no other way. There's just
absolutely
none of that.
Absolutely. We have to win out.
Yeah. And we got to win with fashion too. We can't just win. We got to dominate.
Absolutely. So against Notre Dame, when they played them, they only had 297 yards total. So they've been down and they've been up in some areas. And but like I said, I think their strength is going to be their defense. We're going to get to some of these questions because I see they're coming in. And J-Walk, what do you think about Bryce Shaw contribution to the secondary?
Very glad he's healthy. Very glad he's healthy. He's, you know, he was one of those guys that I was really in the back of my mind. Just I felt heavy in my heart for him, you know, because he was a starter at the other place. He was a starter at
yeah.
And so for him to take a chance and gamble on himself and come across the country, come over to the West Coast, and then not get the opportunities that I'm confident he was dreaming of. It's one of those things that I'm like, gosh, you know, that's one of those guys that I hope just gets his opportunity at some point in the season. And look, he really elevated his chances. He got Pac-12 Defensive Player of the Week. He had 7 tackles, 1 INT, a couple big pass breakups when we needed. And he was an energy guy back there when we were short in depth. So that was really important. Big shout out to you, B. Shaw.
Absolutely.
I'm very, very proud of you. If you ever see this, fight on, man. You are a welcome.
Hey, big time.
Welcome, pleasure to have in the Cardinal League Gold. And if I see you tomorrow, bro, I'm gonna give you a big old hug at homecoming, man. I'm very proud of you, man. Thank you for
big time, man. I mean, I think he's the actual. When you talk about team player, man, he didn't complain about his situation or nothing. I mean, I think he led the team. I think 3 or 4 interceptions last year at Ohio State. Now he did come in after somebody got hurt last year for Ohio State, but when he came in, he balled. I think I put a clip. Do you remember a clip I put of him, an interception he had on the goal line from Ohio State last year? I mean, the dude balled out, man.
Like 4 or 5 months ago, you put that.
Yeah. I put it up 4 or 5 months ago, and he just positions himself. He just knows football. I think he's one of those guys that have the football IQ. As a result, he's able to make plays, man. So absolutely, man. So before we close, we don't want to keep it too long. Oh, everybody tune into that Washington-Oregon game. Let's hope that Oregon State game tonight. I hope Oregon State beats Washington because they're ranked. It's going to help our strength of schedule.
That's right.
I want them to beat them.
Oregon State, unfortunately, this is a time of season where we have to root for certain ops. You know, we got to cheer the ops. So look, hey, let's root for Oregon State. Not for 2 reasons. First reason, you know, it does bolster our strength of schedule. They're already nationally ranked. And they're playing some good football. But beyond that, those dudes work really hard. They gave us, to me, our toughest game. Utah was not our toughest game, in my opinion.
Oh, no.
Oregon State was legitimately our toughest game. I believe that game, it required us to get, 4 or 5 interceptions or something like that? We had 4 picks. I can't even remember. But we had to play outside of our brains to win that game, and we won it in great fashion, right? That was the true first test character of our squad. Second, that's a team that out in Corvallis that just they're respectable. So let's love on them a little bit. Let's send that group positive energy, and hopefully they get a big W against a rival in Washington, and that'll be great. But outside of that, you know, we gotta really play this thing strategically. And I know that at this part of the season, negativity can only hurt us. Like I've heard so many people say stuff like, "Watch, Grinch's defense is gonna let you down. Watch, just watch."
Say it again, man.
let me talk about what that is. It's like, why would you want that to be the truth, right?
Put that in an atmosphere.
Like, why would any of us want that to be the truth? Because what I see is a coach that does hold his players accountable, and I see a coach that does command his defensive unit. You have not heard one player talk out of pocket about him, out of the game plan, out of the scheme. You have not heard one player. Name a player so far this year that you've heard openly come out and actually complain or say something negative at all about the coaching staff. The things that we would hear in the last 2 or 3 years. Go, if you follow any other athletes, name one person on social media from the USC Trojans this 2022 season had posted anything that was detrimental to the squad.
Hey, John, in fact, to be honest with you, I've never heard anything negative about Grinch until I seen Oklahoma fans when I started this YouTube start saying things, and then everybody's like believing the sauce. Hey, listen, do not listen to them. Do not listen to them, because that's where I first started hearing it. I've never heard anything before that.
And it's only the last 2 weeks that he's even proven that our defense struggled. Everybody was saying our defense was struggling, except I saw our defense holding people under 21 points for like 4 weeks.
4 weeks in a row, yeah.
Like, yeah. Wait, where's the truth?
It was 19 point. It was 19 point something the game.
Where is the truth behind all these ridiculous allegations of our defense sucks? Then we play Utah in a very controversial game. I don't even need to speak on it. Yeah, we thought Utah was going to run the ball. That I will say Alex Grinch got out schemed in that game. We knew Utah was going to run the ball because the whole country said it. They proved it on film weeks and weeks before, and then they came out and threw that ball into a tight end who had an exceptional, heroic day, and you haven't heard a peep from him since. You understand what I'm trying to say? It circles back to what I told you about players playing above their skill level against USC. So great. Everything in that game against Utah was designed and positioned for them to be successful. It was a blackout game, a record-breaking sellout crowd, basically not their homecoming, but something like it. They were paying homage to 2 players on the side of their helmets. The referees had some very questionable officiating that the whole country is now becoming more aware of. And then we lost in overtime, basically, dang near overtime, by a 2-point conversion, I'm going to say. It was close to overtime, right? Because the game should have been decided in the first half. We were already up by 3 scores nearly, and then the game got out of hand through officiating. I haven't seen the defense suffer. All I've seen is last week we had some depth issues, and you saw players for the first time get playing time, and they had to get used to game speed. I'm not making excuses for these guys. I just am telling you that I've coached for so many years. I can see between the mess, and I can see the beauty in the action, right? That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So I think we're gonna have a little bit of a bounce back tomorrow, and I think we're gonna, and this is the perfect offense. This is perfect offense for us to go up against while other guys get rest. Because I just read you guys the guys who's gonna be questionable for tomorrow, and we got quite a few guys on defense and a few on offense. So we want to make sure those guys heal up. And the main thing is, because the week after tomorrow, it's gonna be Colorado, but after that, that's when you want everybody to be on deck, especially that. We're not looking past nobody, but you want everybody to be on deck for UCLA. Don't even want to look ahead, really, but really want to focus on this and make sure we do what we got to do, man. So before we wrap it up, we got to get my Chipotle on and get my other stuff on here. And before we get, I'm about to get lost in that Chipotle hot sauce and that Chipotle and the Chipotle what you call it,
the queso.
Man, I'll be lost. Hey, look, I got a big old beach towel I'll be having, man, when I get that hot sauce, man. I'll be having to wipe my head. It'd be crazy.
USCJ is, he's swole, he buff, he in shape.
Hey, no, man.
Every time I talk to this dude, he like, yeah, man, I'm gonna go get me some ice cream downstairs.
Hey, I gotta sit in the steam room for 3 hours to get it off, man.
Hey, brother, he's eating that ice cream now. Come on.
Hey, this the Willer Dealer. He's tapping in all the way from Indonesia. Man, fight on, my man, fight on. We appreciate you for coming in, man. And listen, we believe that it's gonna be some success, man. Look at Michael M said there's beauty in the struggle. Absolutely, man. You find out, Mike, you speaking absolute facts. You find out about yourself when you go through the struggle, when you go through adversity. But the key is we still winning, and that's the most important thing, man. And that's what we really got to look at. And I want everybody to really realize, listen, USCJ on that juice. Hey, man, what are you talking about? Hey, you got it. Go on J-Walk Instagram, man. You're going to think you're looking at Ronnie Coleman, man.
You lost in the sauce. He lost in the sauce. You got that buff sauce.
Hey, it's all good, man. Hey, Dan Lennon, Good Music says Dan Lennon is going to be a headache. And I don't necessarily believe that.
He's going to be
I don't think so. He's a good defensive coordinator, but what you think, Jay?
I like him. I mean, I like him. This as his first season, he's doing well. Like, yeah, you got it. I'm the type of person that I edify people, and I recognize the real struggles that a lot of these guys go through, man. It's so easy for us to throw darts. It's so easy to cast stones, but you have no idea how tough it is to manage all of these unique personalities, man. These social media football players. It is not.
Man, it's crazy. When you talk about that aspect of it, it's crazy.
There's so many nuances to being a coach and a leader and a mentor, and you got these folks, parents calling you and telling you to basically parent their children while they're in your protection and all this other stuff. And it's just one of those things where I pay honor and acknowledgement to everybody that's doing it at a high level. I don't have any reason to think that Coach Dan Lanning doesn't have all the tools to be an exceptional coach. I do think that the coaches that he's going to play against in this conference are going to give him a run for his money very consistently. But look at already the track record that he's already built in this is his first year, right?
It's his first year, but right? I will say he inherited. Look at Mario, what he's doing with his players. Look at what Mario's doing with his players that he has now at Miami. Right. And look what he had. And his success rate was like totally different from what I think him and Willie Taggart both lost in the sauce for leaving Oregon like that because they both went down and they both went to Florida teams, Florida State and Miami. Right. But, I mean, he inherited a good team. And I always say the jury's always out until, after you start getting your own players and your own scheme and everything to kind of see.
Give him 1 to 2 seasons to see if he can handle the rat race and the recruiting race. Let's see. That's when you'll know if he's a great coach.
Yeah. And really those last 3 games, Washington, Oregon State, and Utah, he really hadn't got to the meat of it yet. And once he gets to it, he did play Washington State. I give him that. They almost lost that game 44-41. But those last 3 games, man, if he gets through that, I'm giving him all the props. Those last 3 games.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna give him props now just because he's already kind of reestablished a new Duck culture over there. But here's what I'm going to say. There's a long season still left ahead, man.
Big time.
This is November. This is where you either we used to call it no loss November, right?
Yeah.
This is the time where in November you get remembered or you get forgotten. So you want them to know you in November. So that's what it is. And I'm happy to see how our young men are embracing the challenges that come day to day with being under this new tenure. And I have nothing negative to say about anybody. I just think that USC has taken a lot of unjustified bull crap over the last decade. And it's only natural that life is cyclical and where it's time for them to revolve back to a place of national prominence, because when USC is doing well, the whole national landscape of college football is doing well.
Absolutely.
USC is a mega brand. And we don't want no favors, but at the same time, we don't want no extra hate and shade. It's already been challenging enough as it
Big
is
time.
with some of the lies and accusations that are put on the on the landscape here. But hey, man, it's fight on forever for me.
Big time, big time. One thing I can say about them, Oregon, and I mentioned, I think I put that on my Instagram the other day. All these teams in the Pac-12, you mentioned it as well. 6 teams this conference has, man. It's looking very. I said it a couple of weeks ago. The Pac-12 has the most parity, I believe, right now from top to bottom, man. When you look at all these teams, and that, as a result, man, I think it's going to really be at the end of the road. I feel like if we get through these offenses that that we're gonna face at UCLA and as well as Oregon gets through some of those, and even if we get through Oregon, I think, man, we're gonna be battle tested. And that was another question somebody had. Do you think, where's it at? Do you think, how long do you think where's it at? Where's it at? Until we make it to a championship? Did you want to answer that? He was asking you that. I can't find, where's the question there?
I'm reading Siege double O, their comment, his or her, I'm saying to him. I like SC's defensive potential. Turnovers are important and can immediately change the momentum of a game.
Yeah.
I agree with that. I do believe that USC they're very hungry. They graduated from hungry to greedy when it comes to turnovers. They are no longer hungry. They are gluttonous, bloodthirsty savages for turnovers. And you can't name a time in the last 5 to 10 years that we can say that about our USC defense. So that's when I look at Grinch, I'm like, no. I can't allow a sour narrative to be poured on a person that's undeserving. If anything, we need to be actually applauding this man coming into a system with players that really don't fit his philosophies and molding them into the types of players that he can be competitive with until we can all get a little bit more seasoned in this system and just get accustomed to this style of defense. That's what it is. We don't like the way it looks, but it does breed results in critical moments. Like, we can think of critical times in each game that we've got stops that I don't know if we would have gotten the years before.
And let me, and to your point, remember Todd Orlando when he came the year before, yeah, same to you, the year before last. Now, before he came, remember Drake Jackson, his freshman year, had an incredible year. Then Todd Orlando came, and Drake looked like he was lost in the sauce. That same guy, it was like, but it wasn't Drake. It was the system. So we got to consider that and consider some things, man. That this right now is better than what we had. We got to understand it from that perspective.
Yeah. And I think Justin Wilcox, the former coach,
defensive coordinator
here at SC, now he's the head coach of Cal. I think he recognizes the USC culture he's about to walk into. And then the thing is look, man, this is a revenge game, yo. This is our homecoming. This is a revenge game. They beat us last year in a weird game. That was the weirdest game where nobody wanted to play on our team. Nobody even traveled up there. It was just so funky. That whole game, Cal whooped our butt. You don't think we're ready for some give back? Yeah.
So we're gonna wrap it up. Let me answer this last question. Good music. Clemson beat 4 ranked teams. Let me tell you this. Texas A&M was ranked number 6 in the season when they came into the season. Do you not? Hey, good music. Let me tell you. They strategically placed these teams. Why do you think LSU is ranked number 10 right now? LSU they lost to Florida State. They were lost in the sauce. How do you go from unranked to number 10 in the country? It's to pad Alabama. It's to help Alabama. That's what I want everybody to understand. They beat 4 ranked teams because that's what they want us to say. Exactly what you just said right now, because they strategically put them there to help those guys out. What do you got to say, John? We got to understand the system, man. It's the good old boy system, man.
Come on, man. There's a game within a game. Do you know how afraid these conferences are for the Pac-12 and USC to be back on top? How can they win in recruiting? How can they win? How can they continue to be successful if the Pac-12 is actually doing what it's supposed to do, which it is. Look at how regionally everything that's desirable in the country, opportunity-wise, economics, branding, media, licensing, all of the financial liquidity, it's all over there. Except they got oil money in the South. They do, but that's kind of like long-term money. That's like wealth built in. Over here on the West Coast, you can build it from nothing. Like your brand you can become somebody that's prominent by being a great athlete. In Alabama, you could be a great athlete and the people who follow Alabama are going to know you. But overall, you're not about to be just in the mix like a mega celebrity out there. You can become a global celebrity being over here on this market. So based off of what I'm saying, any way that they can dim the light of where we are to try to keep the light over there, they got to take advantage of it, because the system that allows for teams to be successful is manufactured on that side of the country. There is no way. LSU's lost twice, right?
Yeah, they lost twice. Yeah.
How are they top 10 in the country?
Hey, they got blown out by Florida. Was it Florida at home? No, they got blown out by Tennessee at home.
Yes.
And they lost against Florida State.
Yes.
It's no way.
There's no way to justify that. You have a number 6 team that's no longer even in the top 25, basically. Texas A&M.
Hey, but this is how they do it in the beginning of the season. They automatically rank them without even playing, which is crazy.
And that's where I'm saying, like, you have to open up your eyes and actually see the bias. Look how hard they fought to not have Oregon State be in the rankings, even though they was doing so well.
Crazy. Washington State too. When we play Washington State, they should have been in the top 25.
Yeah, they should. Yeah. Either way, I mean, it is what it is. I've lived through this system. I know what it is. So, I'm speaking from a different level of experience. I'm not diminishing or undermining anybody else's perspective. But what I am saying is, if you can't recognize how they bolstered these teams that are undeserved like rankings, like how, how, how can you say that team is number 6 in the country when how are they number 10 now in the country when they've been dogged twice? Right? Anyway. So look,
we're gonna close it up. We got a good one tomorrow, man. It's a late one, so we get an opportunity, man, to watch a little Notre Dame. We get an opportunity to watch some of these games. Tennessee, Georgia. Georgia and Tennessee, they play pretty early tomorrow as well. So we get an opportunity to watch some of these games. There's some guys that's going down tomorrow. So listen, all we gotta do is win, and we can move up. Well, if Georgia and Tennessee, whoever win that game, depending on how it is, they're gonna keep them in top 5. you already might as well count on that. Hey, sports conversation with Chris. The committee's lost in the sauce.
You already know.
Hey, man, you absolutely right, man. They are lost in all the sauce, man. They lost in Alfredo sauce. Big time Alfredo sauce. Yeah. But hey, they lost in that old hickory barbecue sauce too. But anyway, man, we're gonna shut this thing down, man. Look, until tomorrow, man. And of course, John and I will come back on Sunday, man. John, any last words, man, before we get out of here?
Hey, man, I love the conversation, the banter. Thank you guys for allowing us into your households, into your cars.
Absolutely, dialogue. Have a good dialogue.
However you guys are listening or streaming this, we value you, and hey, thank you for just letting us be real. That's what it is. There's nothing unauthentic or fake about what we do here, and we're just being as honest as possible. And yes, I would love to reach out to me in my direct messages, and I would love to sign an autograph. And if you guys ever have anything else that you ever would want, yeah, man, I'm only one DM away. That's sincerely, and we value you.
Tell them where you at on Instagram.
All right, so guys, my Instagram is John Walker Pro. JohnWalkerPro. John Walker Pro on IG. Direct message me, guys. My Instagram is shadow banned somehow. Like somehow my content is not getting pushed out. I've been told that several folks have been searching for me and it doesn't pop up. So I don't know what that's all about, but it's okay. But yeah, I'm on there. I'm a real person. It's really me, and I'm very accessible, especially as long as you keep it classy and respectful. I'm a family man, and also, you know, I'm a child of God, and so just keep it cool. And I got love for everybody.
Absolutely, absolutely, and good music. John knew the great Pete Carroll. Yeah, he played for the great Pete Carroll.
That's right.
Absolutely. So look, man, we appreciate it. And what are you talking about on IG? He's talking about. I guess it can't. His IG can't come up. It's not pulling up. Sometime. I mean, it's John Walker Pro. You
Right.
can find him on that, but sometime when you search for it, I guess it doesn't come up.
That's right. So what I've been made aware of is, you know, I've had my profile for, I don't know, close to 10 years or so, and at some point I had, you know, 90-something thousand followers, and it got hacked. Someone stole my account for 2 years, and my following dropped. But after that, I kept getting these updates and alerts from Instagram saying that I had some content on my page, or my page had been reported, and I broke community guideline violations. And I don't know how that happened, because I never post anything vulgar or disrespectful or questionable. It's just my real life, right? My real life, me working with athletes. But what ended up happening was my engagement dropped from, like, I would get like 10,000, 15,000 views on videos to like 20 views. And I was like, whoa, I don't know what that is. And then on
that's crazy.
My followers dropped. So I have no idea, but it's all good. I mean, that's just a way for you guys to be able to communicate with me, and vice versa.
Absolutely. Walk Rimmer. Thanks, fellas. You keep us informed and energized. Good music. Oh, predictions. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Good music. And Warren Childs, God bless you all. Fight on, Jesus is Lord. You're absolutely right. Jesus is Lord. Prediction. My prediction is going to be, I think Cal's going to be a little lost in the sauce. I'm just going to call it like it is. I'm going to say we're going to put up some points, man. I'm going to say 45-17 USC.
Okay. I was going to say 40. I was going to say 48 to man, at the very most 24. But the only reason I say 24 is because the backups will play.
Yeah, absolutely. And we got backups right about now. Right about now. So absolutely, man. So look, we appreciate everybody. Hey, the Willer, we appreciate you from Indonesia, man. We appreciate everybody for tapping in. You guys got the best program. Keep building, keep improving. Our new team, our better team needs a new, better media personnel. Absolutely. Hey, man, we appreciate you. We may be getting ready to get these credentials here in a minute, man. So listen, it's about to be go time, my man. Christopher, we appreciate it, man. So listen, like, share, subscribe, man. Until tomorrow, you guys know John and I will be back Sunday. Until tomorrow, man, listen, everybody stay blessed, man. Big Black, yes, best USC program. I appreciate that, man. I just want to read some of the comments before I get out of here, man. Yeah, hey, the other programs are you said that. I didn't say that, man. Well, listen, hey, I hope you're not saying they lost in the sauce. But anyway, man, until tomorrow, brother. Hey, happy homecoming, my man. Happy homecoming. Much love, man, to everybody, man. Till tomorrow, fight on, fight on, fight on.
No.
He said, I said that. All right.
I said it.